welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. So today we're going to take a look at this personal stereo, the M-GP24. Now this was released around mid-80s and it was part of a collection of Sanyo personal stereos made in Singapore. And I actually had this one as a kid, which is the M-GP9, which was the basic model. They also then did the version with the radio, which was the MGR59. Then we had the cassette only with a 3-band equalizer, which was this model here, the M-GP24. And then finally, the snazzy pink one was the M-GP74. And this one's got the radio and the 3-band EQ. So it kind of combines everything. So it was basically base model, then take your pick of the next one, and then you had everything sort of top of the range of the 4 there in the pink. And so we're going to take a look at the black one today. It's absolutely filthy. It's just come in. I don't know if it works or not. So we'll try it out on the power. We'll also try it on DC. So we've got batteries and DC. We'll check the belts, check the headphone socket, make sure it all runs nicely, and just give it a good old polish. Incidentally, the blue one has already been worked on for the channel, the MGR59. So do please go ahead and check that one out with a restoration. And we'll go and do the same on these other 3 in due course. But as I say, today we'll focus on the black one, the M-GP24. So the first thing we'll do is clear the desk. So what we need to do first then is check whether or not it powers up using batteries and indeed DC adapter voltage. And also to make sure the headphone socket works okay. They've got these delightful period correct speakers here. So first things first, let's get the batteries in and see whether or not we've got power to it. So 3 AA batteries here, obviously 4.5 volts in total then. So we'll just get these in and hopefully, let's see what happens. Good stuff. Yep, that's turning well. Good resistance there. So the belt's probably fairly strong. I would imagine it's probably deformed depending on when it was last used. A cursory look inside would suggest that the capstan and pinch roller are pretty clean. Might not be spotless, but I've got an old tape we can try out, so I'm not too worried that this is in such a bad condition that, that it's going to ruin the tape. But what I will just do quickly is take the batteries back out, so there's no confusion when we put the power adapter in. So then we've got 4.5 volts DC going in, and hopefully, perfect. Yep, that's working too. Good stuff. Right, so we know that it works on batteries and mains power. So next thing we'll do is plug these speakers in. Quite often they've got a loose connection on the board where they've been in people's pockets, etc, etc, and that does cause dry joints on the circuit board, but hopefully this one will be okay. So let's see how we get on. We'll put a tape in. Okay, here we go. And volume. Left channel. Oh, it's not sounding good on the right channel. Yes, it is. We've got right channel. Yep. Okay, there we go. So just a bit of crackle on the volume pot. And I'm just wiggling the, I'll just stop it a moment. I'm just wiggling the headphone jack around a little bit to see if I can get it to play up or be intermittent. It's not doing that, which is great. That means that the connections on the board are absolutely fine. So that's good news. Righty-ho then. So we'll now pop the tape out and take it, open the back and see what we've got inside, have a look at the belt and go from there. But so far so good. It's working off its power, and also the headphone socket is okay, but we just need to put a bit of cleaner on the volume potentiometer. So let's go ahead and do that now. And again, we'll just we'll just lose the power lead, and we can put the speakers to one side for a moment. Okay, so then we just need 3 screws to get out on this model. Very similar system on these Sanyos, to be honest. Just a couple of screws on the back panel. Quite a reassuring click there. I don't know when this has last been apart, if ever, in fact. So we'll just get these screws out now. There's 2 on the back there and 1 just inside the battery compartment. That's the same for the other models in the range as well. Exactly the same screws as well, actually. Right, so the screws are out and we should just be able to very gently prise the back cover off, but do watch this back corner because it can be quite thin and it can be relatively brittle. So we'll just zoom back a little bit. And the tabs on there will pop out eventually. There she goes. So those tabs haven't been out in a little while. Good stuff. So that can go to, you can see there's nothing inside, so that can go to one side. Righty ho, and there we go. And it literally is as easy as that to get to the belt on these models. And what I'll do actually is press play again with some power in, and we'll see that now go round. Not too bad. It's got a tiny bit of a kick to it, so it might, when we take this off, we may well find that it's got a teardrop shape or slightly oval, and there it is, look. And there it is. So it's like an egg shape. Very common on these models. I know a lot of old stereos haven't been used in ages. It's running okay, but you get that little bit of a flutter, a little bit of a wobble as the belt's spinning round because it's slightly elliptical. Obviously, when it's on the pulley, it's not as bad. It does straighten out to a degree, but there's always that deformation just there. So it will cause some fairly uneven running. So that's that belt there. But I did notice that this one, unlike the lesser models, has also got a secondary belt there as well. So we'll go ahead and have a look at that too. Also, the motor is a little bit noisy. So I think we'll put a drop of oil on there, see if we can just quieten and smoothen that down a little bit. So I'm going to put a tiny drop of oil just onto the motor. Okay, so to get the circuit board out was the 1 screw, and I've unpicked some cables from the side of the board there, but also the cables across there that were tucked in very tightly, but that saved us having to desolder anything at all because now the board can move out of the way just to be able to inspect the belt that's underneath. And so we'll get that belt off now just to take a look at it, making a note of course of its orientation. And we can see that one's actually okay. It feels okay. Slightly elliptical there, but actually it forms its shape back very well. That's not too bad. We'll probably go ahead and replace it anyway while we're here and give everything just a wipe over and a bit of a clean. But other than that, there shouldn't be much more to do. So we've got some new belts. So that's going to be good stuff. We'll get those on in a moment. But first thing we will do is get some isopropyl alcohol and just wipe over the running gear. So we'll just clean inside the pulleys, anywhere where there is contact with the belts. Now the belts weren't degraded or anything like that, so we're not expecting too much grime, but you can see there just a tiny bit. Look, that's just sort of years of, probably what we're talking, 35, 37 years worth of belt wear on that. So can't be helped. Just nice to try and get in here as much as we can. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Lovely. Good. There we go. Time for the new belts. and that's running nice and smooth. And then the second belt, make sure you get the right one. Okay, let's just try that. So that's the belts on. Let's just see if it's running okay. And play. Lovely. Oh yes. Magic. Very nice. Okay, so the belts are running beautifully. So we'll just tuck the cables back, screw the circuit board down with that one screw, get the back cover back on and give it a good clean. Not forgetting, of course, a quick squirt of contact cleaner on the volume pot. Marvellous. I'm just going to put a tiny drop of contact cleaner in the headphone socket. Belt and braces. I also put some on the switch, on the play switch inside whilst I was in there. Okay, so let's try it out. Plug it in. Pop a tape in. And play. It's a really old tape. Can't tell if it's running right or not with that old music, to be honest. Let's try a different one. There we go. Lovely, so it sounds okay. All the equalizers are working properly. Fast forward is good. Rewind is good. Good, so those new belts are settled in nicely. Headphone socket's clean. Let's just check that volume again. Tiny bit of crackle, we'll just work that cleaner in. That's better. Okay, good. So, it's all working beautifully. Let's just give it a darn good polish, shall we? Okay, so we're just going to clean the head now, and indeed the capstan. So to clean the head, we've got some isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip or cotton bud here, and we're just going to draw that a few times across the actual head. Can't really see that very well from there, but you can hear that squeaky clean. It looks clean anyway. We'll also clean the capstan with some isopropyl alcohol. Now you can't do this whilst it's running, of course, because then the pinch roller will press and it will snarl up and pull all of the fluff off your cotton bud. But you can press it halfway and do the pinch roller as well, because what that allows you to do is to turn it whilst you're wiping it. And to be fair, it really doesn't look too bad. There's not much coming off of this. So anyway, we'll just finish polishing this up, and then we'll go and clean the actual unit itself. Okay, it's time to polish the unit now. I'll spare you the laborious detail, but do check out my other personal stereo restoration videos to see it in more detail. Essentially, you need 4 ingredients: some cutting compound stroke scratch remover, some wax, and some vinyl cleaner. And the 4th ingredient, good old elbow grease. So I'll just go ahead and do that now, and I'll be back with the final reveal. And so here it is, the Sanyo M-GP24. Wasn't in too bad a condition, to be fair, when I got it. It was really grubby and filthy, but it really had some great potential. It still worked off the batteries and indeed the DC. So everything was sort of functionally okay with it. It just had a head clean really, and we did the pinch roller and the capstan. The motor was a little bit noisy, so we put a drop of oil on the motor shaft. Also replaced both of the belts. They weren't too bad really. One of them was a bit teardropped from where it was getting on a bit, so a little bit warbly. But whilst we were in there, it made sense to replace both of them, just so that we know it's got several years more use ahead of it. Also, we did clean the volume pot, so that was a little bit crackly, so we've sorted that out. And whilst we were in there, just put a little splash of contact cleaner in the headphone jack as well, just to clean that out. Other than that, a deep polish, just to polish some years back into her and make her look as fresh as she was in the mid-80s. And all in all, a beautiful little unit. So very simple, not too complicated at all. No radio, just a regular cassette player with a 3-band equaliser. But yeah, there she is, the Sanyo M-GP24, all the way from the mid-80s and ready for some more years of fun. Thanks for watching, and do please subscribe and hit the notifications bell. We've got plenty more personal stereos, 8-track players and recorders, boom boxes, all sorts of stuff. So do check out some of the videos, and I'll be back soon. Bye bye for now.